Hello, my video game homies. Today we will be doing something a little bit positive today. So enough talking crap about the Xbox and the PlayStation for 2 seconds, right? Let's just do like a tier list of Nintendo consoles, and don't worry, I will do a tier list of all consoles in general. If I could find a tier list like that, absolutely, I will do that. But before we start, let's just get right into it, shall we? Well, first off, I want to say please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, okay? Please do. It does help. I do want to get monetized. Let's go. Anyways, we'll start off with the NES here. Now, the NES, I'm going to put in C tier. Let me tell you why. Because although the NES did have like amazing experiences like Mario, Zelda, all that good jazz that definitely made it into the games that they are today, and honestly did save the video game industry as a whole, being so smart as to market itself as a toy with the Rob with the whole Rob thing, because video game consoles at the time, if you don't know, had a really bad rep after the video game crash of 82 because of Atari or whatever, just allowing too many games, whether they're bad or good. There were a lot of bad ones, obviously, because there was just too much freedom, you know, in there. People just released like garbage after garbage, like, and more than people would release good games on the Atari and then Coleco, all those other systems that were pretty much the wild west of gaming. No, seriously. Seriously. You think the PC is free? Oh my god, bro. You think the PC is open platform? It is. But oh my god, you should have seen. It made me like envy how free the video game market was at the time. Like, it made me envy that. I thought, it's like I said, I thought that the PC platform was free. Oh my, it was an open platform. My god, bro. My god, it's just insane. Whatever. But getting to the NES now, it did have a lot of amazing classics, like I said, Mario, Zelda, and then. But here's one thing that I appreciate about the NES that I don't really see many people talk about, even the major fans of it, is that the amount of craziness that came from it. I know that sounds like a quirky word. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, dude, the NES had some weird ass games. And then, like, obviously, you had stuff like Castlevania and Mega Man, which are really dedicated, like, has dedicated fan bases towards them that started off on the NES, which is crazy to me to think about. It really did. But when it came to those third parties, those were great. But I'm also even talking about the licensed stuff. There are some licensed games like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Dick Tracy, all those other games that, although, yeah, maybe they weren't like, oh, and Action 52 as well. There are a lot of good third party licensed games, don't get me wrong, like the Disney ones. But those games in particular, I don't know why, they kind of interest me with their zaniness. But unfortunately, when it comes to, like, that's where the positive stops for this console, because everything else about it just seems too simplistic. It's just a console that we're able to emulate pretty much everywhere. We're able to play pretty much everywhere, and I just don't really see a reason to really, get out the original NES and start playing the games. I just don't, because we just have, like, again, a lot more ways to play them now, right? We could, I mean, there are honestly a lot in the Wii shop, or, well, it's not up anymore, but man, there are some NES games I bought on my Nintendo Wii, but, and the 3DS, and those were great. But the thing is that like, yeah, again, I'd rather play it on literally any other console. I'd rather play any NES game on any other device, like my phone, for instance, my Android phone, that you could definitely emulate NES games on. Um, I just rather have something like that than a NES, because these games are so simplistic that they're meant for, more convenient devices to play on. Absolutely. But yeah, either way, the NES is definitely a C tier console. And that does not mean it's a bad console whatsoever. It was really good for the time. Do not get me wrong. It really was. But we just have better ways to play them. That's it. That's really all. Otherwise, I would have put it in B or even A because of its wackiness. Like, if I'm being honest. Now we're going on to the Game Boy. Yeah, we're gonna compare the consoles and the portables, okay? That's what we're gonna do, alright? So, with the Game Boy, I'm gonna have to say, let's just put it in the same tier for now, and I'll tell you guys why. Because this guy is definitely a B tier to me. Okay, so, look, with the Game Boy, the Game Boy was really primitive to play games, even more so than the NES at the time. Now I understand it was portable, that is true, and it was fairly cheap at the time. That was also true. But the problem is that the Game Boy, again, they're much like the NES. There are much better ways to play it, much better ways. And you see the thing is that, like, the problem with the Game Boy as well is that there weren't exactly the best, like, the Game Boy was not the best place to play it, obviously, right? The games were not in color, not at all. The NES at least had color. The Game Boy did not. Um, and there would be some technical issues with it, and there would be some games, obviously, like, let's just say Mortal Kombat, that would be poorly made for the Game Boy, and there's not much you could do about it from there. There really isn't. Yeah, so you're kind of screwed. And honestly, it just was even more primitive than the NES. It's just like I said. Like, there was a lot more limited experiences that you can make on there, which is fine if you made a game around it. But again, say if you are making games for other platforms, well, unfortunately, the Game Boy doesn't really give you much leeway there. Now, does it? It was so weak that basically you had to make a game around it. Which, okay, I'm talking about for the time, right? So that's for the time. And now, if we're talking about now, there are definitely better ways of playing the game. Come on. Let's just be honest. There's just way better ways of playing the Game Boy and now. And I put the Game Boy Color in B because basically it does run Game Boy games better. Most of them, if not all of them, could have the Game Boy or the color to them, which actually put color on them a little bit, but still way better than the Game Boy did. And then there were also some exclusive games that were on the Game Boy Color, like Pokemon. I think it was also the Legend of Zelda games on there. Yeah, there were just a lot that actually took advantage of the Game Boy Color. Developers were so desperate to have a much better Game Boy because, if you guys don't know, the Game Boy kicked the ass of any competitor that tried to go with it. Right? There were competitors. I'm not kidding you. There were competitors that, like, legit had color, had better controls, better games, or not. Well, that could be subjective, but not better games. Just better ways to play games, really. Like, again, in color, some of the games will be more advanced than their Game Boy counterparts. But overall, yeah, like, the Game Boy only won because it was cheap and it had a big library of games. And it was just like, it was the best of both worlds for Nintendo and the third parties. In a business sense. Business sense. Not in in a unlimited way, because it was not. It was very limited. It had a lot of limitations, okay? Let's be honest. But the Game Boy kind of fixed that a little bit by being a little bit powerful, and developers were so thirsty for that some of them actually took advantage of the Game Boy Color. So I'm gonna have to say, Game Boy Color definitely goes to B for me because I actually had some memories playing those games. Now, when it comes to Super Nintendo, obviously we're gonna have to put in A. What can I say, man? This thing. Look, Super Nintendo just had the perfect a combination of variety and quality. I don't know how you did that, and honestly, like, it was like just a couple years ago. I wasn't really too fond with them with SNES games, but then I look back and I'm like, wow, these games were definitely a product for the time in a good way. Like, there is only the SNES like console that had platformer like mascots again. Like just seeing a lot of the mascots that tried to be a Mario or a Sonic was just adorable. It really was. It just puts a smile to my face when I saw like some of the variety that the SNES did, and that was just with platforming. We're also like forgetting the fact that we're also forgetting the fact that it had like a lot of RPGs. It had a lot of fighting games. It had a lot of basically racing games, whatever. Any genres that you could think of, especially for the time, it was on there. Okay, it was definitely on there. So what I what needs to be said, okay, is that the SNES was amazing with that, right? So yeah, it's definitely going to A tier. Because of that. And then like another thing I want to talk about too is that the Super Nintendo is when Nintendo was at their prime. Like they had the best versions of games for the most part. They had the best versions of games, and they also had the best versions of their first party titles. Hell, they even remastered or remade technically their older Mario Bros games that were on the NES. Are you kidding me? And then Super Castlevania 4. Oh my god. Don't even get me started with that. When I had a Castlevania craze, I bought like Castlevania 4, Super Castlevania 4 on the Wii Shop channel. And oh my god, I played that bitch with the classic controller. And I was playing that for days, days on end. And for a game like that, that's a lot to say. It really is. So the SNES was Nintendo at their prime. Okay, they had third party support, the definitive third party support. Probably the best versions of games again for the most part, and then their first party titles were actual advancements. Man, they were like okay, you had Super Mario Bros. 1 through 3, right, on the NES, and then you had Super Mario World. Damn. And then for Donkey Kong, you had those arcade like Donkey Kong games on the NES, right? And then you had Donkey Kong Country. Damn. Again, like huge leap, huge leap. So that was the amazing part of the Super Nintendo. And yes, although maybe now, you know, like coming from today's standards, yes, maybe it doesn't deserve an A alone from that. I don't care. It deserves an A because that was Nintendo at their best. That not only Nintendo at their best, but also sort of gaming at its best, right? Like so much variety again in everything: fighting games, platformers, RPGs, whatever have you. You know, best on NES. Sorry, it really was. And then and again, Nintendo at their prime, best of the best. Now, the Virtual Boy. Look, I have not experienced the Virtual Boy. I'm not going to pretend that I experienced the Virtual Boy, but here's some obvious like downsides about it, right? That I do not appreciate. A, you do not have a convenient way to play you. As in, there are a lot of games on the Virtual Boy that I would like to play, but like even or well, I bet there are some good emulations. But what I'm trying to say is that like, why isn't there a best way to play you? Like, you have to stare into the red and black screen of the thing, and then like they're goggles, but then you have these stands there, so it's not like you could just pick it up and play it because it also has a separate controller, but it's also considered a portable. Huh? I don't get. I don't get it. Oh my god. This thing is just so weird. And again, design wise, it has a lot of flaws that I don't think I would appreciate now. And again, going from some points from the AVGN review, right? The Angry Video Game Nerd, he did a review about this, and it's a very limited library of games as well. I just don't think this thing is worth even mentioning that much, unfortunately. But I will give it credit for one thing though. This thing was very powerful for a what it would consider itself a portable, even though I don't know if I would consider it that. But hey, it does call itself a portable, right? It does call itself that. And you know what? I will say, like, if more games were made around it instead of the Game Boy, I think the games, ironically enough, would actually have a better quality. I know it's weird to say because like the Virtual Boy is so synonymous with its lack of quality, but to be honest with you, there are a lot of games that honestly, if they were made around the Virtual Boy instead of the Game Boy, they probably would have been better off. Like I'm just saying in terms of like the quality of the game. I know it sounds weird, but I don't know. The Virtual Boy is significantly more powerful than the Game Boy. So, I don't know. And then we get to the mother effing screw it. Motherfucking but the Nintendo 64. Oh my god, bro. If memories were in a console, this would be it. The N64 had the best Mario parties. Let's be honest with ourselves. I'm kidding. Maybe not better than the GameCube ones, but it definitely was better than the ones on the Wii and so on and so forth. Definitely. It was definitely one of the better Mario Party experiences that you had, other than the GameCube ones, you know? So, and not only that, but it also started off the Smash Bros. Series, which easily could have been a one and done game, by the way. But because the N64's like appeal towards its niche, if like I know it sounds weird to say, but the N64 had a simplistic appeal, you know. I know that the PS1 came out at the time, and that had the dominant, like that was the Super Nintendo for the time, right? Had the third party, the first parties, Sony at their prime when it, comparatively, the good stuff. But the N64 was a good competitor though. It actually had better specs than the PS1. The problem though is that Nintendo was foolish enough to go with cartridges. Stupid idea, I will say. Really dumb idea. But they did go with cartridges. And then like it's a shame because we saw what they could have done with 64 megabytes of memory as opposed to 16 or 12 to 16 megabytes of memory that we saw with the regular Nintendo 64. Let me tell you how advanced Nintendo was. Let me tell you how ahead of their time they were with the Nintendo 64. So unfortunately, they couldn't really do this with the original one, but they had amazing ideas. Like even something like Minecraft with Zelda, bro. I'm not lying. With this thing that eventually turned into Ocarina of Time on the N64, the original one, they made Ura Zelda. That game allowed you to take steps on sand, right, and then it would come true. Or I mean, I'm sorry, it would stick there until your adventure is over. It would allow you to cut a tree, and that cut will stay there until the end of the game. Crazy shit like that. I'm not lying. That's insane. That's insane to think about. And then they had so many games planned for it, so many games. It's a shame that they got canceled. Like they actually had a mother game that honestly I would have been more inclined to get into if it was on the N64. The N64 again was memories. This is what truly got me into gaming. Actually, this was my childhood console, bro. It wasn't my first console. My first console, funny enough, was actually uh, it's gonna be weird to say, but it's like a controller that emulated NES games. Essentially, it was a Sega Genesis controller, Sega Genesis Lite controller. I'm sorry, that had a bunch of NES games on there, and you just connected it to the TV. No, I mean it was literally two controllers, and you just connected it to the TV. I'm not lying. It was not a proper console, but that was my first experience playing games. Yes. So yeah. So when it comes to the N64 though, this beast over here again just has my favorite series on there, and they were planning some amazing experiences with it, and they just had even 1/4 of what the PS1 had, bro. They would have done amazing things with it. So this console is like the embodiment of, we worked with what we had, and we did amazing with it. Donkey Kong 64, Banjo Kazooie, and Mario 64, Smash Bros, the Legend of Zelda games on there, dude. and Mario Kart 64, which I fucking loved at the time, bro. You couldn't touch it. I'm sorry. Anything on the PS1 was not as refined as any of the big hitter games on the Nintendo 64. And of course, I didn't really get to play GoldenEye, but I saw my big brothers play it, right? When I was a tiny little kid, I saw them playing that, and I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I was a hungry kid. But I will say, though, that game, I'm sure, was amazing at the time. It was because like it was really popular for a huge while. You never really saw a game like that that really, uh, I don't know, that it's just crazy to think about that. Like stuff like GoldenEye 64 were like were like really rare to do. Crazy. In fact, it was so much more famous than the movie itself. It was crazy. But anyways, N64, you're a fucking legend. I love you, man. Now let's get to the Game Boy Advance, another portable or another console that I grew up with and loved. The Game Boy Advance gave me so many hours. You have no idea. So many goddamn hours with Pokemon Fire Red, or I'm sorry, Leaf Green. I had Leaf Green. Two copies, but I barely had Fire Red actually. But yeah, Leaf Green, and then you also had Pokemon Sapphire. That's the one I had too. Oh my god, good times. And then we also had the better versions. Yes, Super Nintendo fanboys, Cope. It was the better versions of the Mario games on the NES. In fact, you had so many NES ports on the Game Boy Advance that it was just so much sensible to play it on there than it would on a Super Nintendo or something. Oh my god, the music is as good. Wah. Look, I love the Super Nintendo too, but y'all are so in denial when it comes to the fact that the Game Boy Advance are not the better ways of playing it. Are you crazy? Are you insane? Of course they were. Not only was it generally like it was like generally the same experience, right? Not only that, but you also had but it was also portable, and sometimes they would be better gameplay wise. Sometimes they would be more refined and better than the Super Nintendo version. Yes, it is. It is a better version just by the portability factor alone. Now, here's one thing I don't understand. Why did the Game Boy Advance have worse? Why did it have a worse sound chip than the Super Nintendo? Is beyond me. They definitely could have put a little bit more money into the sound chip. I do agree with that. I don't know why there are like a bunch of like the Super Nintendo, something from 1991, I believe, had a better sound chip than something that came out in 2003. Yeah, it was because Nintendo cheaped out, obviously, but. I will have to say though, the Game Boy Advance was still goated as all hell. Like even when it came to third party support, they were making games around the Game Boy Advance that still came to like GameCube and PS2 and all that, and obviously it was a completely different version, duh. But it was like they still made games around it. So like if you had a Game Boy Advance, bro, you could have gotten the general experience of any game. So like say if you were looking forward to Team NT, right? I grew up with that amazing 2003 series. I love it. My God, I still love that series. But but they also made games on the for the GameCube, Xbox, PS2, duh, right? Like it was a no-brainer. It was very popular. So they also made ports of the game, or yeah, the same game with the same name, but they made it around the Game Boy Advance. So they turned it into a side-scroller beat 'em up, or they turned it into overall a side-scrolling platforming game with action elements. It was so heckin' wholesome, I guess. Like in terms, I don't know, in those terms, that's the best way I could describe it. It was so nice to just always have a version of a game, even though that's not the same general experience. It's still the same general game that was made around the Game Boy Advance's limitations or just overall what's more appealing on that system. And that wasn't a bad idea. It really wasn't. And the Game Boy Advance really started that. You started seeing that with the Game Boy Advance, and then they started doing it with the Game Boy and such, or I'm sorry, with the DS and such. So, yeah, it was amazing. It was such a good console. It was amazingly portable, and then don't even get me started on the SP model that let you charge, which spoiled the fuck out of me, by the way, because now I cannot stand anything that does not charge. Nothing. Jeez. Xbox controllers. Like, why the hell do you still use batteries, bro? Anyways, so I could gush on and on and on and on and on about this goddamn system, man. Oh my god. But let's just move on to the GameCube. So, the GameCube, you guys are gonna hate me, but I am gonna have to put an A tier at least. Let me say why. Because the GameCube, okay, I will have to say, the GameCube I did not really grow up with much. I did play some games on there when it came out. Yes, I loved Super Smash Brothers Melee, bro. Oh my god, when I first saw that game, I'm like, oh my god, like that was a huge improvement from the original one. But when I was a kid, I didn't even know that was a sequel. Honestly, I thought it was just its own game. Even though I saw my brothers play it when I was a little kid, but yeah, I don't know. I still saw like Melee as its own thing. But can you blame me? That thing was a huge leap from the first one to the point where it could have been its own game. It could have been its own series. Damn. But anyways, not only that, but Mario Kart Double Dash, I also had some fun with. Not as much as Mario 64 though, or Mario Kart 64. But don't get me started on Sunshine, more like Sun shit, because that thing is so slow, boring, and not really exciting compared to Mario 64. I'm sorry, but it's true. Mario 64 still reigns as the best 3D Mario. It's not due to nostalgia. It's because the game just gave you a lot more freedom than others. It really did. I'm sorry. It's just true. But still, when it comes to the GameCube, though, it definitely deserves to be an A tier console. It is so good. Honestly, when it came to the fact that they innovated with the GameCube, which is fair, you know? So it may not have been the console that I grew up with. Maybe it didn't have the best versions of the games that I wanted it to. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, I didn't grow up with Wind Waker, but even if I did, I would not have liked the game. I mean, I don't hate the game now. Actually, no, I like it better than Twilight Princess now. But if we're talking about back then, when I came from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, oh well, not really Majora's Mask. I actually didn't know that Majora's Mask existed as a kid, but. Yo, if I just came out of Ocarina of Time, that amazing game with the best art style for Zelda, by the way, and then to Wind Waker, I'm like, what the hell is this gay shit? Get this out of my face. This isn't Zelda, you know? And then I would not even be able to comprehend the fact that it's not even the Hero of Time Link. It's not even the Hero of Time Link. I would not be able to comprehend that as a kid. I'm like, wait, is this him? But now he's different. He's grown. He's a little bit more grown up. Huh? What's going on here? And honestly, the fact that Wind Waker, even though that yes, obviously gameplay wise or like game wise, it is a better game than Ocarina of Time. It controls better. There's a lot more for you to do, of course. But the thing is that like there's also tone and there's also build up for a game. And honestly, Wind Waker did not have that compared to Ocarina of Time. It just didn't. The tone was just better in Ocarina, you know? And then like again, if I were a kid and then I came from Ocarina of Time to that, I would just not like it. That's a horrible way. And so I do appreciate that the GameCube did innovate. It paid off a little bit. It did. But then you also have to take into consideration that, sometimes you just didn't have to do that. You really didn't. So yeah, like with Wind Waker's art style, really, that was a stupid thing to do for the time. For the time, again, Wind Waker has an amazing art style now, or not amazing, but it's serviceable. But yeah, no. Still, it still had Smash Bros. Melee. It still had Mario Kart Double Dash. I mean, hell, what had so many other like amazing experiences, man. Let's see. Unfortunately, when it came to Donkey Kong, though, that's when that thing got shafted beyond belief. Like, man, I don't know, just so bad. When it came to that, but honestly, again, I can't really name much for you guys. I'm sorry, but I didn't really grow up with the system. I'm sorry. I mostly played the PS2. You know, unfortunately. I mean, the PS2 was awesome too. All the consoles in that generation were awesome in their own way, but I mean, the PS2 was a console that I mostly paid attention to. So, yeah, but still, A tier system, no doubt, for sure. Now, DS. Is there even an argument there? This came from a golden age of Nintendo, bro. And while we're at it, let's put this guy in there too. Because, my God. Hold on. Let's just talk about the DS, though, for now. So, the DS. Lord. The DS has so much goddamn variety. I have so many memories with this amazing console. From Mario to fucking Pokemon, the best versions of Pokemon at the time, by the way. Probably still the best versions of Pokemon now, actually. And then like, okay, I didn't really like the Zelda games on there. I'm not gonna try to lie to y'all, but my God. And then when it came to like again, just the sheer memories I had with it, there's just so many. And then like, oh my God, and Picto Chat. Oh Lord. Oh man. I can't stop gushing about that. I'm sorry, guys. There is so many things that happened with this console. It's not even funny. Like, it's not even funny. I used to color the whole, like, Picto Chat screen black, and then, like, I would, like, gradually lower it down to pretend that it was, like, a health bar in a game. I don't know. Some cheesy shit like that, but I loved it. So, yeah, and then, you know how I talked about the Game Boy Advance having third-party support, and even, like, a general game, maybe not the same game, but it's still the same name of the game, right? Well, the DS had that in spades, and honestly, the DS did not lose out on a lot on any major thing. Not even Call of Duty. They even made Call of Duty for the damn system. And then if we're not even talking about third party, even and also Spider-Man Web of Shadows, hell, even as late as 2013 with The Amazing Spider-Man. Hell, I think 2014 with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the DS still got those games as well. Again, different games, but still. It still was not left out. And you could bet your ass I had a lot of SpongeBob games. I was a SpongeBob fan at the time. There's just like so many things. And then like again, not even going to mainstream third-party games, because there's a lot. There's a lot. Oh yeah, and then Mario Kart, of course, that was one of my memories as well. Mario Kart as well. Man, I'm sorry for being all over the system, but oh my God, bro, it's just so amazing. So going to the other third party, which was like things that were like dead a long time ago, the fucking DS brought back with Contra 4, The Legend of Hercules, it was an RPG series in the NES days apparently. And then there was also some unique stuff on it, like what was that name? Ace Attorney, and like some weird dancing game. What is it called again? Where you have to like go to the rhythm, and it's like it's a weird dancing game. I don't know, but it's like a rhythm dancing game, and like the DS just had so many crazy games. So many crazy games. So you know how I appreciated and loved the NES for having these crazy wacky games? Well, the DS had that in spades as well, but in a better way too. That's what I loved about the system. And then let's just go move on to the Wii. Oh my God, the Wii. Oh my God. From Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart Wii, obviously, which was the definitive version of Mario Kart for the time. And then Wii Sports Resort. Oh my God. How many? I'm sorry, but how much more do I even have to say? And then full backwards compatibility with GameCube accessories and games. Are you shitting me? No, this thing is clearly a winner. Okay, it is. It clearly is a goddamn winner, and it seriously deserves to be. In fact, what the hell is it doing there? Hold on. Sorry, but we're gonna have to fix this up a little bit. There you go. That seems more like it. Yeah. No. The Wii. Oh yeah, and from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, especially Super Smash Bros. Brawl, bro, I gave it like more than 8 hours a day for this for Super Smash Bros. Brawl on this system. It was not a healthy thing. I understand that. I gave basically more time than I had in school than into this thing. Like hell, even more time than a full-time job I gave to this damn thing each and every day. Each and every day. And I just don't have that same love for consoles anymore. The Wii and DS were peak, bro. That was peak Nintendo, actually. I know that I said that Nintendo were at their prime with the Super Nintendo. Yeah, that's still true, because technically they had the better versions of games, a lot of third party and a lot of first party, right? And definitive first party at the time. But the Wii still had my favorite games at the time, and especially with Mario Galaxy, again, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the better version of Mario Kart at the time. Oh my god, man. So many things to say. So many. Like, well, there's so many things to think about that I can't say. Like, seriously, man. It's crazy. The Wii is amazing. The DS is amazing. That was Nintendo at their best, bro. Fight me on that shit. I don't care. The Wii and DS were Nintendo's best era. Fight me. And then we get to the 3DS slash new 3DS. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit nice here and put in the B. Yep. I'm going to put in B. Because the 3DS, although, like, I understand that it does have certain good games, it did not have the same variety as the Game Boy Advance or the DS, especially when it came to third-party support. All you got was just, like, Monster Hunter, some weird games here and there, but it just did not have the same appeal. Now, to be fair, the 3DS did get, like, better, I would say, first-party support. Like, this was the first system that we got a Smash Bros. On, bro. I wanted a Smash Bros. On the DS a long time ago. They could have made a pixelated one. I don't know why they didn't do that. But anyways, this was the first time that we actually got a full-fledged Smash Brothers, or a Smash Bros. At all, on a portable system. And it was a good one, too. Yeah, Smash 4 on the 3DS was still good. Eat my ass. Whoever says it's not. Yeah, but unfortunately, I did not really like playing on this thing at all. I really didn't. I hated that more games were like coming to the 3DS than it was the Wii U. Hold on, sorry. The Wii U. Yeah. Like, it pissed me off because I did not like playing on this primitive ass thing that was weaker than a fucking system that came out in 2000, which was the PS2. You know? Sorry, hold on. That thing was so primitive, and like I just did not like playing games on it. And then the fact that you had one analog, are you fucking kidding me? Like naturally. Are you fucking kidding me? The DS's simplistic design worked for it, okay? It had a D-pad, 4 face buttons, shoulder buttons, and a mic. Touchscreen. Fine. It was a much more simpler system. It didn't need 2 analogs. In fact, it would have looked stupid with it. But then you had the 3DS that came out in 2011. Motherfucker, you better come with 2 analogs at that point. I don't care if you're not as powerful as the Vita. You needed to have 2 analogs. My God. It was such a catastrophe that they literally had to make a stupid accessory that no one wanted, by the way. And it showed in the numbers. The Circle Pad Pro. Just to sort of negate what they fucked up on. Which, no, it's not, because it's an accessory. A lot of developers are not going to make games around it. But to be fair, a good amount of games actually took advantage of it. And there were actually high profile ones too, like Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, Resident Evil Revelations. Good, and I'm sure there's more. But those are good. Those are really good games to take advantage of that. Cool. But the problem, again, not all the games took advantage of it. Hell, not even Smash Bros. Took advantage of it, unfortunately. Because it couldn't. Smash Bros. Used all of the 3DS's juice. It used all of its power. And the Circle Pad Pro apparently took some CPU away from the 3DS while in use. So there could have been a possibility of games running like shit on there if you use a Circle Pad. Or worse, running worse. Yikes. Couldn't imagine that. I couldn't stand that. And then the thing that pissed me off the most, because I got the 3DS not when it launched, when they launched it at 170. Still, fair enough, right? Okay. They released a new 3DS? Motherfucker, are you kidding me? First off, you already had a powerful system that you could make games on, by the way, with 2 analog sticks. That ship has sailed with the 3DS. That's it. You didn't do it in the beginning? That's it, bro. Why don't you be like the N64 over here and just work around its limitations from there on out? But nope. They made a second version of the 3DS, the new 3DS, that had more horsepower. Still not as powerful as the Wii, though, which was stupid beyond belief. I don't know why you didn't at least make it as powerful as the Wii. But anyways, that had 2 second had a. Okay, first off, we can't even call it a second analog because it's not an analog. It's like some stupid nub, some awkward nub that you push down and it like shifts side to side. You know what I mean? It gyrates, but not in the middle. It's so fucking weird. You have to actually use it to like really believe how shit it is. Now, it's not really horrible with like 3D games. Like if you use it for camera, it's not terrible. But again, it's not accurate. It's not as accurate as an analog stick. I don't understand why they couldn't just move the start and select buttons somewhere down in the middle. I don't fucking care. And then just like put a second analog that's just as big as the circle pad on the 3DS. Right down in the middle. Kind of like a Switch, right? You know how the Switch has the placements? Kind of like that. That's it. That's all you needed. That's all. I don't understand why you made this stupid convoluted thing. I mean, I guess it is more unique, sure, but it's lazy and stupid and doesn't work as well as a second analog. Those are the downsides, unfortunately. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really have that good of a time with the 3DS. I didn't even play many of the Pokemon games on there, if I'm being honest with you guys. I just grew out of Pokemon from there on out. Yeah, I played a little bit of X and Y, but then after that, I got bored of it. So this is when it made me like this was when Pokemon really got stale, honestly, and I just quit it. So not really good memories there, because Pokemon was one of my favorite games that I played, from Game Boy to DS. From Game Boy to DS. Now I always wanted to play the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Unfortunately, I didn't have a job at the time, so obviously because I was too busy being 13. Now, although that's not an excuse, you still could have like probably made money if you were smart. I wasn't. So, all right. So, I think that's about all I have to say on the 3DS. Unfortunately, not so many good stuff, and really made me kind of jealous of it, hate it a little bit. Even though I owned one, I did not want to play a lot of the games on there. Instead of, well, we'll move on to the Wii U. The Wii U is lost potential. That's all there is to it. It really is. And because of that, I'm going to have to put it in the C tier. Hold on. It's definitely better than the NES and Game Boy, for sure. And the Wii U is a cool concept of a console. It really is. It was really meant to bring convenience. But Nintendo and everyone else mistreated the fuck out of it. Everybody did. The Wii U was a good console. It was. People could come over here and be like, "Oh no, it was shit. You have bad taste in consoles. The Xbox 360, PS3, blah blah blah." Yeah, yeah, yeah. But look, the Wii U, bro. Hear me out though. The Wii U had a good concept to it, at least to me. And hell, I even liked the concept better than the stupid ass motion controls on the Wii. You know, I'm sorry, but I never liked the Wii because of the stupid motion control gimmick. In fact, I hated Skyward Sword on there, if I'm being honest. I mean, even though that is Nintendo's like best, the Wii and DS again is Nintendo's best consoles, no doubt. But bro, the some of the motion controls would make the games worse. The Wii U didn't have that problem. It really didn't. You know, the Wii U did not have that issue. In fact, you could have played most of the games with the gamepad or even with the Pro Controller, even its own Pro Controller, which again was amazing, by the way. Such a good Pro Controller, better than the Switch Pro Controller. That's for damn sure. Damn. But anyways, when it came to the Wii U, I loved even playing the most basic games on there, which, like that filled my heart, like say you have no idea how many hours I sunk in for Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Origins, even some Injustice in there, right? Injustice Gods Among Us. I invested so much in that onto the Wii U version. Actually, mostly on mobile, but whatever. But Injustice Gods Among Us, the Wii U version would be the only one that I would want to play. I'm not gonna front, bro. The only reason why I would ever want to play the other versions is because it had the WBID. It connects with the Injustice Mobile, blah blah blah. The Wii U version unfortunately got the bad end of the stick, bro. It really did when it came to third party support, though. Like I meant, even the games releasing for the Wii U didn't really do it many favors. Okay, you had Arkham Origins, which didn't have all the damn DLC that was available on the Wii U, and then you had Arkham City, which I believe ran a little bit more poor on the Wii U, but I don't care because honestly, it had all the DLC and everything, and I didn't have to pay for shit when it came to that. And again, I got it for pretty cheap too. I think it was like 15, $20. I got Batman Arkham City on the Wii U. Best value. Really good value there. But yeah, and honestly, I'm going to sound crazy saying this, but I just bought like Batman Arkham Origins or the Batman Arkham series, which Asylum doesn't work on my Steam Deck for some reason, but I like the Wii U version better than the PC version. I know it sounds weird, but I'm sorry, I do. The Wii U version, first off, had the electric gloves, which is exclusive to the Wii U version. I'm not sure. They put on the Switch recently, I know that, but I'm not really sure if it's in the other versions. But it's still a Nintendo exclusive, I guess. So they had that like electrical gloves in the Wii U one exclusively on that, and then that transferred over as a mechanic in Arkham Origins for all versions. But yeah, so because of the creativity on the Wii U, that actually impacted something like Arkham Origins, and it made it better because of it. So it's like the Wii U is an awesome system that was mistreated beyond belief, which unfortunately puts it in the C tier because of that. Like I loved playing Breath of the Wild on there. Yep, I was playing Breath of the Wild on there. Eat my ass, bitches. Suck it. But anyways, yeah. And then I was playing Smash 4 on there. Oh my god. Now, when it came to single player content, the 3DS version kicked its ass, but if we're talking about the multiplayer, ooh boy, I used to play a lot of that on the Wii U. A lot of it. It was great. Loved it. Couldn't stand how, like, that would be mostly what I would play on the Wii U. And then I also had Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. It was a good packing game. I got the Mario Kart bundle with the Mario Wiimote, so it wasn't a bad deal. It really wasn't. So, Yeah, and then we would play Super Mario 3D World. I'd be pissed because, like, honestly, I still don't like 3D World all that much. I think it was a boring game that didn't even belong on the Wii U, if I'm being honest. And it was a bad multiplayer game, but it's still memories, you know? Still kind of nice to have. Yep. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I wish the Wii U was treated better. They could have still supported it till this very day. It could have been Nintendo's PS4, believe it or not. And the Wii U deserved to be that. But Nintendo was so lazy, so idiotic with how they treated the Wii U. It's not even funny. Like, so many mistakes made on Nintendo and the third party's part. Because now they're regretting it. Because look how successful the Switch is being, huh? Yeah, now you bitches regret now putting your games on the Wii U, don't you? But, with that being said, though, Nintendo was mostly at fault here. For sure. They could have gotten GTA 5 if they coughed up the money. If they coughed up enough money, they could have gotten GTA 5 on the Wii U. Imagine how fucking cool that would have been. If you could just transfer or, like, put your weapons on the gamepad or whatever. Or, again, you could just played the whole fucking game on the gamepad. That would have been cool enough. Sorry about that idiot doing the lawnmower right now. Damn. But anyways, yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. Damn. It's just such lost potential there. And then also, because of the Switch, we got a shittier version of Breath of the Wild. Oh, sorry. Did not mean to do that. But we got a shittier version of Breath of the Wild because of the Switch. If they were making it around the Wii U, by the way, it would have been it would have been a much better game. We could have used the gamepad for the map and the weapons. And although I know that sounds pretty basic, but for Breath of the Wild, no, seriously, you have no idea how convenient that would have been and how amazing that would have made the game. Seriously. But, anyways, let's just move on because honestly, just talking about this entertainment wise makes me a little bit sad. Like, we could have gotten a much better 8th generation, Nintendo's first HD console, by the way. We could have gotten a much better impression from that. It's unfortunate. Now we're moving on to the Switch. Now, the Switch, look, obviously, it has to go to S tier. All right? So, of course, it's no shock that Nintendo has more S tier consoles than any other consoles. It's no shock. That's why I'm still a Nintendo fan, sort of. I mean, I don't want to call myself a Nintendo fan, but that's why I'm more attracted to Nintendo hardware than PlayStation or Xbox hardware. Because the Switch, my God, dude, I have so many games for the damn thing that I didn't even play them all ranking from third party and some first party here and there. I just mostly like Smash Bros. Mario Kart is still okay. Certain first party stuff. A lot of their first party stuff is actually pretty bland and forgettable on the Wii U. Yeah, fight me. Or I'm sorry, on the Switch. Yeah, fight me, bitch. I don't care. Even Smash Ultimate is a little lackluster. Again, fight me. Don't give a fuck. Like, if we're talking about Super Smash Bros. Brawl compared to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, bro, it's not even. It's Brawl. It kicks its ass in terms of like the scale of the game, having cutscenes, having a story mode with cutscenes in it. Yeah, fuck Ultimate. Ultimate sucks ass compared to it. The only thing that's better is the gameplay. Whoop de doo. That's great that you don't have much to do with it though. Nice. Although Brawl's gameplay is worse, you could still do a lot more with the single player now, can't you? But anyways, this all sounds very negative. Sorry. Most of it isn't, okay? Because the Switch's first party titles are though as mid as they are. They really are fucking mid as all belief. The Pokemon game sucked on there. Smash Bros wasn't as good as it could have been. Hell, they didn't even make like a better version of Smash 4 that had all the content between the 3DS and the Wii U on there for some reason. I don't know. But even though that their first party was caught lacking, bro, I'm sorry, but it is. Other than Breath of the Wild, which is not a Switch exclusive. I don't know. I don't care what you guys say. It is not a Switch exclusive. I played it and had a lot of hours on it on the Wii U. So even I can't even consider it a Switch, and this is my tier list, so I don't care. So it's not a Switch exclusive. And then Mario Odyssey was so like bland, honestly, especially after you beat it. It's like there's nothing, literally nothing to do. Unlike Mario 64, which actually gave you shit to do, right? during or even somewhat after the game. There are a lot of secrets that you actually did not like the Yoshi on top of the castle. Yeah, sure, he just gave you 99 lives, okay, but it's like he's there, you know. It's kind of nice. And the 128 stars or the 121 stars, whatever it is. But yeah, like the Switch just did not have that sort of charm with their first party titles. But what it comes to, it was the third party games, man. I played a lot of the third party games, bro, on the Wii U or on the Switch. I'm sorry, and it is amazing that I could play third party games on the go, or not even on the go, just portably in general. I don't want to look at a stupid big screen and then sit in a certain position and blah blah blah. No, I want to play these AAA games like I am on a tablet. Now, I do have the Steam Deck for that, but the Switch, it still has some charm in that it has first party Nintendo titles that people seem to like. I don't know why. I think you guys are on crack, to be honest, or you guys haven't tried the Wii and DS. I don't know. Or GameCube even. I don't know. You guys are crazy, but it comes with first party titles that people love and a way to play third party games. Which, you know what? To the Switch's credit, it actually got a lot of games that I wanted on the Wii U. Like Skyrim, I always wanted to try that, and now I get to play it on an HD Nintendo console that's portable? Say no fucking more, man. Damn. Say no more at that point. Even though that the better way to play it is obviously on the PC with mods, with the Thomas the Tank Engine mod. Clearly, that is the best way to play. But other than that, though, like all of my and then Bioshock as well. I wanted Bioshock Infinite on the Wii U when that came out, but unfortunately, they just did not find it feasible to do so. Now you get to have Bioshock 1, 2, and 3 on the Switch. That's amazing. That's cool, man. And there's also this man-eater game on there. It's a shark game, where you go around eating whatever the hell's in the ocean, or whatever's in your way. And then it's like a game where it's like an RPG too, where you have to level up your shark, upgrade your shark, blah blah blah. It's amazing, man. It really is. But obviously that's not a Switch exclusive, but it still is like. The Switch is awesome for having a game like that. And that's the only way that you can play that game portably other than the Steam Deck now. But, again, I have that game on there. And then, like, the Switch. Okay, what I did not like about it is that, yes, it doesn't have a web browser. You can't do Netflix on there, even though with every other Nintendo console, even the 3DS and DSi, actually, you could have. Weird. Oh, man. But anyways... The Switch is still amazing because you still had AAA experiences on the go. And that is all you could ask for, especially now. The Switch was the better portable when it came out, especially. Even though that it was as powerful as a mid-range 2016 smartphone, yes, there's a lot of flaws with it. But there's a reason why I put it on the S tier still. It went past those flaws because of its convenience. It's a huge variety of games, even third-party ones. Although they're not as wacky as the Game Boy Advance and DS, it still has the right third-party support. And that's all I asked for, man. The Switch was something that I asked for a long time ago. This is what I wanted from the 3DS. A fairly powerful console with a second analog, God forbid, that you could also plug into the TV whenever the hell you want. The Switch was a perfect portable, honestly. It really was. And that shows it. Now, the DS still has more variety, and that's why I like the DS slightly more than the Switch. But, hey, the Switch did a fucking good job still. And the Wii will still be my favorite out of the bunch. But, man, you just can't. You just can't beat the fact that the Switch just has a better variety out of all of them, Like when it comes with AAA third party, right? It's amazing. So also, hold on, I'm gonna bump the Wii U actually to B because I just realized it is backwards compatible with all the Wii games. So yeah, forgot about that. And the Wii accessories as well. You have so many controller options with that. So as well as the Wii, by the way. So yep, I'm gonna have to put it there. Anyways. This was actually very fun to make. I'm definitely gonna make like another console tier list. I'll try not to take as long, by the way. This is like probably gonna be 40 fucking minutes, damn. But anyways, yep, these are my favorite Nintendo consoles. Leave a comment below. Say if I'm stupid or not. I don't know. And say what you would put in the tier list and whatever. Which one's your favorite Nintendo console? Which one's your least favorite Nintendo console? And I do mean portables and consoles, by the way, just to be more clear. So please, by all means, put it in the comment section below. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next time. Goodbye.